Right now, raising a baby comes with strollers, cribs, formula, pediatricians, and 1,000 products designed to keep a fragile human alive. Strip all of that away and ask yourself, how did a baby survive at all 40,000 years ago? Human babies are, frankly, a biological problem. Compared to almost every other mammal, they're born helpless, months away from being able to do anything for themselves. A newborn foal can stand and walk within an hour of birth. A human baby can't even hold up its own head for months. That gap isn't an accident, it's the direct cost of walking upright and having a big brain. Remember the obstetric dilemma. Human hips are narrow enough for efficient, upright walking, but a human baby's head is large enough to make birth genuinely dangerous. The evolutionary compromise was birthing babies earlier, less developed than almost any other primate. Some researchers call this secondary ultraciality. Human babies are born at a developmental stage that, in most other primates, would still be happening safely inside the womb. So a human infant enters the world needing near constant physical contact, feeding, and protection for far longer than almost any other species on the planet. That single fact shaped almost everything about how early human groups actually lived. The most immediate solution was physical closeness. Early human infants were almost certainly carried constantly, likely using simple slings made from hide or woven plant fiber, keeping the baby against the mother's body throughout the day. This wasn't just comfort. Constant physical contact provided warmth in an era with no reliable indoor heating, made feeding easier and more frequent, and kept a defenseless infant within arm's reach of protection at all times. But here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Raising a human baby was almost never a one-person job. Anthropologists studying traditional societies have identified something called cooperative breeding, or alloparenting. The idea that human infants were raised by a wide network of caregivers, not just the biological mother. Grandmothers, older siblings, aunts, and even unrelated group members regularly held, fed, and watched infants. This spread the enormous energy cost of raising a slow-developing human baby across an entire group, not just one exhausted parent. This idea even has a name in evolutionary biology: the grandmother hypothesis. Some researchers argue that human females evolved to live well past their reproductive years specifically because grandmothers who helped raise grandchildren improved the survival odds of the whole family line. Older siblings played a major role too. Children as young as 5 or 6 in many traditional societies actively help care for younger siblings, carrying, entertaining, and even feeding babies under adult supervision. This meant babies grew up constantly surrounded by multiple caregivers and multiple children of different ages, which some researchers argue accelerated social learning far earlier than modern, more isolated child rearing typically allows. Feeding was another major challenge. Breastfeeding remained the primary food source for a human infant for years, not months extended. Nursing, often lasting 2 to 4 years, was likely the norm rather than the exception. This extended nursing period provided crucial nutrition and immune protection at a time when contaminated food or water could easily be fatal to a young child, effectively acting as one of the only reliable, safe food sources available. As children grew slightly older, learning happened almost entirely through direct observation and imitation. There was no formal schooling. Children watched adults closely and were gradually given small, age-appropriate tasks. A young child might start by simply watching food preparation, then helping gather easy, safe plants, gradually working up to more complex and dangerous tasks as they demonstrated skill and judgment. Play itself served a real developmental purpose. Anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer children have found that unstructured play, chasing, mock hunting, building, pretend scenarios closely mirrors the exact skills children would need as adults. Discipline looked very different too. Without formal punishment systems, correction in many traditional societies tends to rely heavily on modeling, gentle redirection, and social feedback from the wider group, rather than harsh individual punishment. Of course, none of this made childhood safe in the way it is today. Child mortality rates in prehistoric populations were extremely high. A significant percentage of children didn't survive past early childhood, primarily due to illness, injury, and food scarcity. This is precisely why the wide caregiving network mattered so much. Every additional adult or older sibling actively invested in keeping a child alive measurably improved that child's odds of surviving to adulthood. So the honest picture looks like this. Human babies were born unusually helpless, requiring years of intensive, constant care that no single parent could realistically provide alone. In response, early humans built something remarkable: an entire cooperative system of grandmothers, siblings, and community members, all sharing the enormous burden of keeping the next generation alive. Some researchers argue this cooperative child-rearing system wasn't just a nice to have. It may have been one of the essential foundations that allowed the human brain, with its unusually long, expensive childhood, to evolve at all. So the next time you see a village's worth of effort go into raising just one modern child, parents, grandparents, teachers, doctors, that instinct isn't new. It's one of the oldest systems our species ever built.